Studios, Dementites and Dementoids, Westwood One presents the 15th anniversary celebration of the Dr. Demento Show. We're gonna go through the whole history of the show and bring back some of the great moments of Dementia, featuring George Carlin, Cheech and Chong, Stan Freberg, Frank Zappa, Mel Brooks, Bette Midler, Graham Chapman of Monty Python, and Weird Al Yankovic at the age of 16. And later on, we'll have the all-time Funny 5, the most requested Demented discs of all time on the Dr. Demento National Request Line. But first, we have an anniversary song, written and sung especially for the occasion by Barnes & Barnes, with a little help from Weird Al Yankovic. When they presented me with this tape a few days ago, we had a few people who've worked on the show for a long time over for a little celebration, and I asked Barnes & Barnes and Weird Al to put a little introduction on tape, especially for this show.
Okay. It's a song for you, Dr. Demento, because we like you. We wish you'd believe us.
You're our pal, Doctor. And
this is for all the years of inspired lunacy you brought to the airwaves, and, well, we're very thankful.
Yeah, we were just lounging around Lumania and decided to
write this little ditty for you.
In the year of 1917, underneath the old smogberry tree, first was heard a man that we all know, the one and only Dr. Demento. Nixon, Ford, and Carter, Reagan too. Remember all they did and didn't do. Through it all, one consistency. Spending once a week with Dr. D. So wind your radios way up tight. Raise your glasses high tonight. Like wine, the spirit has fermented. So here's to him, the one who stays demented. Changes come, seasons pass. Like Alice through the looking glass. He shares a world of madness that we cheer for 15 roly-poly years. So wind your radios way up tight. Raise your glasses high tonight. Like wine, the spirit has fermented. So here's to him, the one who stays demented. Everybody sing!
He has a very friendly, fuzzy face, and nobody could ever take his place. His fans around the globe will never dwindle, cause he put so many records on his spindle.
Stacks of laughing wax from floor to ceiling.
Well, it gives him such a warm internal feeling. Whether you're Italian or Egyptian, he's bound to fill your musical prescription.
Wind your radios way up tight. Raise your glasses high tonight.
Like wine, his spirit has fermented. So here's to him, the one who stays demented.
Wind your radios way up tight. Raise your glasses high tonight.
Like wine, his spirit has fermented.
So here's to him, the one who stays demented.
In the year of 1917, underneath the old smogberry tree, first was heard a man that we all know, the one and only Dr. Demento.
Barnes & Barnes with Weird Al, and an anniversary song recorded special for this 15th anniversary of the Dr. Demento Show. I started doing the Dr. Demento Show in 1970. At first it was every Thursday night on KPPC, station in Pasadena, California, no longer on the air. KPPC was one of those free-form underground-type stations that flourished in those hippie-trippy days. They played any kind of music they wanted to, mostly rock, but a lot of other things snuck in, and I was one of them. Thanks to one of their DJs named the obscene Stephen Clean, who heard some of my crazy records and decided they'd fit right in. It was the fall of 1970. The Jackson 5 had the #1 single with I'll Be There. Cosmo's Factory by Creedence was the #1 album in the country, but the instant #1 song on the Dr. Demento Show was Pico and Sepulveda.
Pico and Sepulveda, 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 Pico and Sepulveda.
Well, maybe you have to live in L.A. to fully appreciate that song because the lyrics consist mostly of the names of streets in Los Angeles. But anyway, that really made the phones light up in 1970. Just before Christmas time 1971, I moved over to a bigger station, KMET in Los Angeles, where you can still hear the Dr. Demento show every week when you're in Tinseltown. Here's the beginning of one of my very first shows on KMET.
Born from North Jersey to Sacramento, he's a giant of the airways, Dr. Demento. You can have your Ben Casey, Kildare and Malone. We've got medication of our own. Dr. Demento, Dr. Demento, Dr. Demento, Dr. Demento.
Put your hand on the radio and welcome the doctor into your home. His good friend Barry Hansen has brought him along again with his little black bag all full of records for you. We're even going to give away a few records from out of the black bag, but that along with all the other Dr. Demento fan club information is going to come later on when we get to the Dr. Demento fan club corner, and that's going to be around 9:30 or 9:45 tonight. A little later on tonight, we're going to have Pico and Sepulveda with Felix Figueroa, Transfusion with Nervous Norvis, getting around once again to those oft-requested favorites.
Well, that was me on February 13th, 1972. The Persuasions doing that beautiful theme song. The first guest I ever had on the air was right around that time. He's a good talker, always has been, so I just shut up and let him do the show. I speak of Frank Zappa. We played one of his earliest records, How's Your Bird, released in 1963 under the name of Baby Ray and the Ferns, and he told us about the studio where it was recorded and some of his efforts to get it released back in 1963.
You dirty snake! Hey, baby, what's the word? Hey, baby, have you heard? What's the latest? How you bird?
Well, at that time, it was called PAL Studios at 8040 Archibald Avenue in Cucamonga, California. And later on, it was called Studio Z after I purchased it from Mr. Paul Buff, who ran the studio. It was a famous studio in those days because 2 million selling records were cut there, of which How's Your Bird was not one. The two that they were cut there that sold real good were Wipeout and Pipeline. Wipeout was done in one take. They didn't have a very big studio budget. And they may have had a little bit larger budget for Pipeline, but I'm not sure. But anyway, in those days, which was approximately 1964, Ray Collins, Paul Buff, and myself, and sometimes with the aid of Ronnie Williams, would get together in the studio for hours and hours on end and put together records that we thought would definitely be hits. We thought that the world really needed to hear stuff like How's Your Bird, and so we would spend all this time making these recordings and intricately overdubbing them and putting sound effects on and everything. And then Paul Buff would put on a straw hat, some red socks, and a vest, which he thought was the way he looked best as a businessman. And he would go into Hollywood, where he had connections, and he would go in and talk to big producers like Bob Keane and Art LeBeau. And he even knew Jim Economides at Capitol, and that's the places where we would go to shop our masters around. We would go in and say, hey, we've just recorded this, as a matter of fact, just last night, and we have this hot record, and how would you like to put it out on your label? Because, see, we didn't have a label or anything. We needed the assistance of the larger, well-established people like Bob Keane and Art LeBeau and Capitol Records. So anyway, I remember one time we went into Hollywood from Cucamonga. And it used to take a long time to drive in. It was a big deal to go to Hollywood. And we went to Capitol Records to play Jim Economidis some thing. I forget what the name of the tune was that we were trying to hype him on. But he was busy. He was in the mix-down room working on something that he knew was going to be a hit. And we sat there and watched a real Hollywood mix-down. Jim Economidis was sitting there actually telling an engineer to put more bass on the recording of Little Surfer Girl by the Beach Boys, and simultaneously trying on clothes from a guy, I think it was from Cy Amber. A salesman came up there with a plastic bag full of slacks and sport shirts and stuff, and he was over in the corner changing his clothes, getting ready for something he was going to that night, and looking over his shoulder saying, "No more bass, no more bass." Anyway, that's what it was like in the olden days. That's the kind of world that produced a song like How's Your Bird with Baby Ray and the Ferns.
Frank Zappa on the Dr. Demento Show back in 1972. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary on the radio.
Sometimes the whole world narrows down to just two people. That's when it's nice to brush your breath with Dentine.
Are you sure this movie isn't too scary?
Come on, I'll protect you.
Being together is even nicer with Dentine, because not even mouthwash can freshen your breath better than when you're chewing great-tasting Dentine.
When the whole wide world for you narrows down to just you two.
Whoa. The monster's gone. You can let go of my arm now.
Brush your breath with Dentine.
Coming up, the Dr. Demento Show gets a new theme song and goes national. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary. Pico and Sepulveda was by far the most requested song for the first couple of years I was on the air, and it became closely identified with Dementia, so it seemed logical that we get an instrumental version of it to be my theme song. Who should perform it? Well, there was a very demented band around L.A. at that time in the early 70s, the Roto-Rooter Good Time Christmas Band. They were called 6 former members of the UCLA marching band who played Beethoven symphonies at swap meets and things like that. They recorded the instrumental version of Pico and Sepulveda that we still use every week to start the show, and they also recorded this little tune, which actually was the first newly recorded unreleased tape I ever played. The first Dr. Demento discovery, the first of hundreds. You'll probably recognize the tune. March of the Cuckoos, the Laurel and Hardy theme by the Roto-Rooter Good Time Christmas Band. They eventually made a nice album, which I wrote the liner notes for. In the spring of 1974, I did another interview. It was my great privilege to welcome the late Doodles Weaver, one of the stars of Spike Jones' City Slickers.
The moment is here. The man is here. Professor Fiedelbaum has returned.
Well, how are you, Dr. Demento?
I'm
First,
just
before
fine.
we get facetious, I must tell you I enjoy the show, and there's a present I got for you.
You
yeah.
brought me something
I
in the
made it.
grungiest
My
looking
son and
paperback I ever saw, I'd have to say. But
Wynn and I and my daughter Janella, we made that present for you.
Okay, and how should I open this
Just
present?
pour it, and the people will hear it when it lands. There it is.
Yes. Part of it fell on the microphone. You'll have to excuse me. Whoops, fell on the microphone again. This is, I guess I would describe it as a thoroughly destroyed alarm clock. I think it might almost work, though.
No, that's what it looks like. It's pieces of alarm clocks that won't work.
It's the bell's a little feeble
Okay.
there.
No, it's an alarm clock that won't work, and that's for people who don't have to get up in the morning. And they don't have any jobs, so it's a very valuable thing. It's one of my own original inventions.
All right. Doodles Weaver made shellac light up on a lot of people's turntables when he was a member of Spike Jones and his City Slickers. How long were you with Spike Jones, Doodles?
I was with him 5 years, and we worked a different city every night, and we had our own train. It wasn't a difficult, shall we say, on the road style of thing like the vaudeville. We just had one concert a night, like Liberace would do, or like the Rolling Stones, and there were always people there. And we'd go from Davenport to Des Moines, and we'd just play sections of the country for the whole year. And then by the time the next year came around, although we repeated most of the numbers, they were new, and we just add enough gags, just like you play the numbers over again, because when you don't see something for a year and it staged well, it's good to see again.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day for the race. Stooge Hand is the favorite today. Assault is in there. Dog Biscuit is 3-1. Safety Pin has been scratched. And at 20-1, Fetal Bomb. Now the horses are approaching the starting gate, and there they go! And it's Stooge Hand going to the front. Cabbage is second on the rail. Beautiful Linda is third by a length, and Fetal Bomb. Around the first turn, Stooge Hand is still in front. Cabbage is second by a head. Cabbage by a head! Beautiful Linda is third, and Fetal Bomb. Into the backstretch, Dog Biscuit is now leading the pack. Lady Evelyn is second, very close. Banana is coming up through the bunch. Banana coming up through the bunch! And Fetal Bomb. At the half, Stooge Hand still out in front. Apartment House is second with plenty of room. Assault is passing Battery. Assault Battery! Notary Sojak is fourth, and in last place by 10 lengths, I believe it is. Yes, it is Fetal Bomb. Around the turn, heading for home. It's Stooge Hand and Dog Biscuit and Girdle in the stretch. Flying Sylvester is third, and Mother-in-Law nagging in the rear. Oh, oh, oh! And now they come down to the wire, and it's number one, and now number two, and it's very close. It'll either be a photo finish or an oil painting. And now Lewis leads with the left, and Lewis is in there slugging, and it's a battle, and now they're tearing hair. There's hair all over the ring. There's hair all over the place. I don't know whose hair it is. It's mine. And there goes the winner!
Spike Jones and the City Slickers featuring Doodles Weaver in the William Tell Overture. The Dr. Demento show was heard only in the Los Angeles area from 1970 through 1973, but in the spring of 1974... we went national! Seattle was the first city outside L.A. to take the plunge, and by the end of 1974, we were in about 100 cities across the country. We had the Dr. Demento request line going almost from the very beginning, and the most requested Demented disc of 1974 was a record made way back in 1946, written and produced by Benny Bell and sung by Paul Wynn.
I have a sad story to tell you. It may hurt your feelings a bit. Last night when I walked into my bathroom, I stepped in a big pile of shaving cream. Be nice and clean. Shave every day and you'll always look keen. I think I'll break off with my girlfriend. Her antics are queer, I'll admit. Each time I say, darling, I love you, she tells me that I'm full of shaving cream. Be nice and clean. Shave every day and you'll always look keen. Our baby fell out of the window. You think that her head would be split, but good luck was with her that morning. She fell in a barrel of shaving cream. Be nice and clean. Shave every day and you'll always look keen. An old lady died in a bathtub. She died from a terrible fit. In order to fulfill her wishes, she was buried in 6 feet of shaving cream. Be nice and clean, shave every day and you'll always look keen. When I was in France with the army, one day I looked into my kit. I thought I would find me a sandwich, but the darn thing was loaded with shaving cream. Be nice and clean, shave every day and you'll always look keen. And now, folks, my story is ended. I think it is time I should quit. If any of you feel offended, stick your head in a barrel of shaving cream. Be nice and clean, shave every day and you'll always look keen.
Shaving Cream, Benny Bell and Paul Wynn on the Dr. Demento 15th Anniversary Show. We achieved quite a bit of notoriety when a lot of other stations picked up that song, and the record actually made the Billboard charts, got up to number 30. Not bad for a 29-year-old record. We're flashing back to some of the great moments of the Dr. Demento Show. In 1976, we had a visit from the divine Miss M, Bette Midler. We decided on kind of a blindfold test format. What I did was I played some records from my archives for Bette without telling her in advance what they were, like this vintage 78.
There's the moon way up high. Here are you, and here am I. Oh, do something. Summer night, stars galore.
And I see here that Bette Midler has an I know who that is look in her eye. Okay, Bette, who is that?
Well, that's Helen Kane, the boop-boopy-doop girl.
Yes, indeed.
She was cute.
Why don't you tell me what flashed through your mind
Well,
as this?
I have a picture of someone with bee-stung lips. Whenever I hear that, whenever I hear a voice like that, a little itty-bitty, a little itty-bitty person's voice.
You mean her lips are swollen shut?
No, it's a style of putting lipstick on. They didn't put lipstick in the corners. They only put it right down where the little.
Oh, yeah, right.
Adorable, though.
Let's let her sing the last half chorus.
Go ahead, girl.
All alone, just we two, and I feel so ba-ba-ba-doo-lo. Oh, do ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
Perfect tune, too. I mean, she's got great pitch.
Yes, indeed. Dr. Demento here with Bette Midler, and we're playing a little game here in a cozy little studio. We're doing the Bette Midler blindfold test.
A visit from Bette Midler back in 1976 on the Dr. Demento Show.
Dear Certs, I never believed a Certs encounter could happen to me.
In a ski shop the other day, I saw an adorable salesman, and I realized, hey, maybe I could have a real Certs encounter. So I had a Certs. After about an hour, I'd not only found a new pair of skis, I found a new ski instructor. Thank you, Certs.
Certs works when you're ready for love. Your breath is too.
Certs and sugar-free Certs with Retsin, just in case you're going to be face-to-face.
Dr. Demento celebrating my 15th anniversary. I've presented the world premieres of many songs, and every so often one goes on to be a hit on a normal type radio as well. One of the biggest came along in 1976, Junk Food Junkie by Larry Gross. After the record hit the charts, Larry came back and did a live version of it for us right here in the studio and talked about how he came to write the song. That'll be next on the Westwood One Radio